on this afternoon, we're actually going to be able to give this recording out to everybody who actually was not able to come on today. So, um, yeah, I'm Marcus Carr. I'm currently a student at chiropractic school. I'm at Life Chiropractic College West out here in Hayward, California. And yeah, my journey into health has been quite an extensive one. I never actually foresaw myself getting into health and wellness, but for whatever reason, it just started happening that way. So, um, a few years back, actually about a decade ago, it really I really started getting into health and wellness, just like changing my diet and stuff like that. I think the big emphasis for that, or the impetus with that, is my aunt and my grandma. Both of them actually reversed cancer by just going plant-based alone. And that was pretty significant in my life, just seeing that happen, seeing that actually happen in real time. So that was a huge influence for me. So I started changing things in my diet, started changing just my lifestyle in general. Pretty rough as a child. I kind of was going down a pretty rough path. Drugs, alcohol, just like yeah, not a very good path. I played in a band. We played pretty heavy music, and the lifestyle that came with that wasn't the best. So that's what kind of led me down this drug and alcohol type of lifestyle. And again, I don't know really exactly what actually changed in me, but I just realized like I could not sustain this type of lifestyle. Yeah, it eventually, it led me to 7 days in jail, and I think that was a huge, wake up call for me. Just realizing like, nah, this is not where I want to be, not where I want to take my life. So, um, other, close calls were happening as well, and I just, yeah, like just really wanted to change my lifestyle. So, all those things kind of happening at once, and yeah, fast forward to a few years later, and I got into chiropractic and I found fasting. Um, I actually was I was actually a janitor, so I was actually cleaning houses, cleaning office buildings, and that's what I did for a living. And while I was doing that, I started becoming so passionate about health, and I would just read and listen to podcasts and all kinds of lectures from different doctors from all different camps, and I would just immerse myself while I was working in all things health and wellness. And I came across an old cowboy, Don Tolman, and he was talking about fasting. And he had these just incredible stories that he was talking about as far as like fasting for an extended period. He actually did several 40-day fasts. And the way he explained it and his experience through fasting just absolutely amazed me. And I was so like mesmerized by what he was talking about. And I've never heard of fasting, had no idea what it was, why anybody would do it. And it was just amazing. So it sparked something in me, and something just innate within me, something just told me like I needed to go down that route. Like I need to know more about fasting. And ultimately, I just wanted to fast myself. Like I wanted to do a 40-day fast, but obviously like I had never fasted in my life. It's a scary thing. Like even going, missing a meal could be scary, and it just, it didn't seem like something I can actually attain. Um, but I actually went ahead and I did a 7-day water fast without any preparation, without any really actual knowledge of what I was doing. And I don't recommend anybody doing that. I had to learn the hard way. When you extend do an extended fast, beyond 5 days, 7 days, it can actually be pretty dangerous. So luckily I'm okay. Nothing severe happened, nothing, tragic happened or anything like that. But I did learn, different ways to go into a fast and then what to do throughout the fast, but also how to break the fast, which is probably the most important thing. So I just, learning the hard way, doing these little 3 day, 7 day. Eventually, I did a 15-day juice fast on a juice called Kabbalah. It's carrots, apples, beets, and lemon, and it was an amazing, amazing juice. We actually share that quite often, Kat and I. She makes a delicious juice for us, and we love to consume that while fasting. So anyway, I did a 15-day juice fast on this juice, and by I would say day 8, 9, I would say by day 8 or 9, somewhere around that 8, 9, 10, there's just this feeling of tranquility and like stillness that happened. And I felt, although I'm fasting, I felt that everything was actually slowing down, as weird as that sounds. And it was like, it was actually a really peaceful feeling that I had. And I can still, I can remember the feelings that I had on that fast. And that was the longest I've gone, and I never had felt that way. So peaceful and so like just grounded in myself. And so that was quite the experience. But again, not really breaking the fast properly. I broke it with like some type of a bone broth or some type of a animal-based broth, and it actually tore up my stomach. And I realized like I never want to do that again. I never want to break that fast again like that. And so I had to learn the hard way, breaking fast in certain ways. And yeah, so learning the hard way for sure. But I'm glad that I actually experienced that, because now I can say, by experience how to actually properly fast, going into it, what to do throughout, and kind of how to get out of a fast as well. And it actually led me to start coaching people and actually coach people through fasts. So another passion of mine is actually teaching people. I have a 90-day coaching program that I offer, and I love to help people and support people through this process. And I'll probably talk about that a little bit later as well. But I really want to get to this my next extended fast, which happened in 2020 when everything shut down during the COVID era. I had moved out with my aunt to Idaho, and um, I decided I wanted to do my 40-day fast, and it wasn't technically 40 days on water only, like a Jesus or like a Moses type of fast, but it was my own journey of an extended fast. And I actually ended up doing 65 days. Most of that was juice. The last 10 days was water only. And absolutely just amazing time going through that. But again, it's that feeling of, and thankfully, actually, I was able to get coached through that by some very experienced fasting coaches, and so I'm super thankful for that. And a lot of my knowledge now comes from that fast there, how to go into it, what to do throughout, different ways of supporting the channels of elimination, which is going to be huge while fasting. Very, very important, specifically for a safe and effective fast, really, because what's happening with the fast is there's a lot of detox happening. It can be dangerous. A lot of people may not know how to support that correctly, or they might freak out when, rashes come up and things like that, but there's a proper way to actually assist in that detox process, and to actually continue on with the fast. So thankfully, I was coached, and it was an awesome experience. But as far as me finding God, as far as me as finding my faith, it actually happened during that fast. Again, probably about midway through, something hit me so hard. I was listening to a song, and it hit me so hard, and it was like God was speaking directly to me, and honestly, He was saying, "I've been calling you for so long. Like, when are you actually gonna like heed this call? When are you gonna actually, listen?" So it was so loud and clear. And I had been on the fence of like, you know, where do I go? Do I continue my old lifestyle? Do I change into this new person and follow Christ and become show my identity as a Christian, So I've been on the fence for so long, but it was that extended fast and that connection that I felt with God. Um, which is another thing that we talk about, is that the fasting is connecting us to God, connecting us to that universal, like that, just that God that's all around us essentially. So I heard him loud and clear, and that was when I laid my life down for Christ. And ever since then, I truly identify as a Christian or a Christ follower. And yeah, fast forward a few more years, I finally got into chiropractic school. So I'm about a year away from graduating. So I'll be a doctor of chiropractic in about a year. Um, Married this lovely woman here almost exactly a year ago. And this has been my life. It's just health coaching, chiropractic, and the wellness ministry that we created. So this is our life right now. And that's essentially my story right there. Um, yeah, so getting into it, as far as fasting, there fasting is nothing new to the human experience. Honestly, it's been around since like the dawn of man, literally. Now, whether this was actually by necessity, whether there was a famine and we couldn't actually eat, we didn't have food to eat, we had no other choice but to fast, or it was a religious observance, right? Something that we did religiously, right? And if you look, most cultures around the world or most religious practices around the world incorporate some type of fasting. As Christians, we know that fasting is actually spoken about several hundred times in the Bible, through different books of the Bible. So it's definitely not. It's definitely something that's very, very prominent, especially in the Christian faith. As far as Catholicism, that's actually very ingrained in Catholicism, especially the more traditional Catholicism. They observed traditionally it was like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday type of fast, and there's many, many other fasts that go into that as well. But Islam also does Ramadan, and that's like 30 days of fasting. Pretty incredible because they don't drink water or anything. They don't eat anything and they don't drink anything, right? It's a dry fast, which is a whole nother level. But they do that, during the day. And then as the sun sets, they're able to eat. I've talked to a couple different people of the Islam faith, and just to hear their experience, and unfortunately, because they may not be aware of like proper ways of fasting and kind of what to do during a fast. I remember them telling me like, yeah, they would be so like hangry, and at the end of the day, when night falls, they're just gorging on food and they would almost eat the whole entire night sometimes, because they were so hungry. And I just remember, yeah, they were saying that's not the healthiest thing to do, but that's just kind of a cool experience that I had with a couple people of the Islam faith. But yeah, I mean, this is all around the world. We see some type of fasting within these cultures. Um, Pretty significant one, the Jainism. It's a form of Hinduism, basically, and these people hold fasting in such high regard that they actually find when somebody's actually on their way out, they actually want them to fast. They say the highest honor of basically dying or going out is to fast, right? Which is it says something about the significance of where you're at when you're fasting. So obviously that's a very extreme example of fasting. And I would never wish anybody to fast and until they die, but it's just it just shows that how, fasting could be held in such high honor and the things that are happening with fasting as well. Um, as we know, again, in Christianity, Jesus did a 40-day fast. It was one of the first things that he did before starting ministry. Did a 40-day fast in the wilderness, tempted, right? All the things happening. Pretty intense, pretty intense. So, and there's several other characters in the Bible that we know about doing these extended fastings. And again, it's just kind of like, what was this all about? So, um, kind of moving forward, today we have a modern type of fasting. Um, Obviously times are way, way different now. Typically today, especially in the church, we see people fasting from, say, like social media or fasting from TV or even certain relationships, fasting from certain people, possibly maybe a toxic relationship that you've had in the past or currently, and you kind of just want to get away from that. So that's typically like a modern day type of fasting that we see. The Daniel fast is sort of a modern day fast in the way that we do it now. And super incredible, not to diminish the power of a Daniel fast, but it's something that we see more in the modern days, something like that. However, we want to go a little bit deeper into fasting. This is a definition that we pulled up: abstaining from all or some kinds of food or drink, especially in a religious observance. And again, underlining that religious observance, kind of, thinking about that, that's really, that's biblical fasting. That's kind of what we want to talk about. We want to talk about biblical fasting. We want to incorporate, the biblical side of fasting. So again, these are just a few of the people in the Bible that we know that incorporated fasting. Esther, the story, the book of Esther talks about fasting, incredible stuff. Moses, like I said, we know did 40 days. God comes down and gives them the laws, basically for the children of Israel. Several other characters we know of: Daniel, like we talked about Daniel before, the apostle Paul fasting to gain insight, right, to make decisions, which I think is another common thing that we see in the Bible, is people fasting for, God's provision, in a way. John the Baptist, of course, Elijah, another 40-day fast. Yeah, so commonly in the Bible, we see people fasting for provision from God, for communication with God. We also see the Jews were known for fasting in times of like sorrow, basically, right? So they would basically be fasting for mourning. It was a mourning type of thing. So that's also something that we see. Um, yeah. So, what is fasting? Now, again, we kind of described, or we had the definition of fasting there. Um, there are many kinds of fasts. Intermittent fasting is a very popular fasting that we see today. I basically teach something called fast, faster, and fastest. And these are basically different like levels of fasting. Okay. Fast to fast basically would be to eat whole foods. Essentially, it would be a whole food plant-based diet. Essentially, is going to be your way to start incorporating fasting into your life. The faster way of doing that is actually to juice those whole foods, and in the fastest way to especially heal from chronic diseases or any type of emotional disturbance as well, that would be water only. So that would be your fastest path to actually healing, and even just removing, just creating space for God and the Holy Spirit to actually come in. I want to mention that the word fast actually comes from the word strong. Especially in the Bible, we see, holding strong or holding fast, right? It means to actually hold strong. So it's kind of like fastening a bolt. When you're fastening a bolt, you're actually strengthening that, whatever structure that you're trying to build there. So when we're holding fast, we're actually holding strong. So that's just another, way of looking at it. again, it might sound weird, like kind of backwards, if I'm going water only, where do I get my strength? Don't I become weak and, basically, shriveled up? And the thing is that there is power in fasting, especially emotionally. There's an example. I have my own examples, of course, and it's getting rid of addictions. Actually, that was a huge part of my fasting journey. Is actually getting rid of old, unhealthy habits, essentially. And just recently, I had a friend who started doing a Friday fasting with me. That's something I've religiously done for many many years now, is just held Friday as my day of just fasting. That's kind of like a Sabbath for me. So that would be my day of fasting. And I had my friend start doing that as well. And sure enough, a couple weeks into that, he came to me and he said, "Man, like I think I understand what you're talking about as far as like fasting being a strengthener, And his example or his experience was that he was a heavy coffee drinker, and I love my coffee, nothing against coffee at all, but it can be addicting. It can be something that we actually um, start to rely on, and he was drinking several cups a day and all throughout the day. And he noticed that when he was, just doing one day a week, he noticed that after a couple weeks, he didn't have the desire to drink so much coffee, whether his energy levels went up or maybe, whatever that was, he didn't have the reliance of that coffee anymore, which is, again, that was a perfect example of like how fasting can strengthen us. Emotionally, we don't need certain things. We're filled, especially if we do it through a biblical lens, we're filled with the Spirit, which really truly is an empty, it's a never-ending well of just fullness, So that's really our perspective, So kind of going into the who of like who should fast. Well, essentially everybody can benefit from this. And if you think about it, everybody actually does fast, and it's usually while we sleep, which is a pretty incredible thing because that's really where the healing is happening. Um, if you look at most injuries, the treatment protocol for most injuries is actually rest. Rest is going to be a part of that. Of course, there's lots of other things that go into that, but rest is always a part of that, And what if to truly rest, we're actually resting everything, not just lying down, but actually lying down the fork for a little while as well, and completely refraining from any type of food going into the body. Because the thing is it's a fact that 80% of your energy is going to digestion, right? So if you're actually not digesting food, where is that energy going? Well, it's going to healing and rejuvenating and restoring your body in all capacities, every single system of your body. So again, I talked about it before. It's this innate intelligence within us, right? There is a universal intelligence that I equate with God, right? You can designate it however you want. There's an ultimate God intelligence force being that's out there. And it says this in the Bible that God is within us, that we are the temple, and that the Holy Spirit does and will fill us, if we allow it and if we create the space to do that. That's an amazing thing about fasting. So essentially everybody can benefit from fasting. Now, the only I so really children and pregnant women shouldn't be going on like a water only fasting. Probably not the best or the safest thing to do. However, there's ways to fast. Like I explained earlier, we have the fast, the faster, and the fastest way. There's categories or levels of fasting, right? Like a pregnant woman, I've coached and I've had other friends of mine who are coaches as well, and we can easily put a pregnant woman on juice fasting, for certain complications that are happening, and they do really well balancing hormones and stuff like that, right? Great way to incorporate fasting while being pregnant. Obviously, they're feeding, a little baby inside them. So to go water only may not be the safest way because, well, like I said, there's a lot of toxicity coming up and that could be dangerous. So an amazing way for pregnant women to incorporate fasting still would be intermittent fasting, of course, and juice fasting as well. Children, same thing. They're in the state of growth. Probably not the best thing to be doing a water only fast, but there's great ways of incorporating a whole food plant-based diet, as a easy way of fasting or a lower level of fasting, and also incorporating juices and stuff like that for minimal time. Intermittent fasting can be a good one as well. Um, I'm kind of moving on. Yeah, the disease, people fasting for disease, which we'll get into that a little bit more. It kind of brings us into the when to fast as well. And it really depends on your goal. I know a common thing that we see today is like weight management. But we want to see more of like a health management, right? I don't recommend fasting necessarily for weight management versus health management, which is a much more um, you get a lot more out of it. That's for sure. So with fasting, a lot of times, yeah, you're gonna lose some weight. Awesome, perfect way to lose weight. But the thing is typically what's gonna happen is all that weight's gonna come right back on. So it really comes down to a management of especially lifestyle in general. So but a perfect time to fast is when you're sick, actually. Again, it's such an innate a part of the human experience is especially when we're sick, we don't have an appetite. And I think again, it's a God-given gift. It's a natural thing that's within us that's telling us to stop eating so we can take that energy and actually reset the immune system, boost the immune system, fight off whatever needs to be fought off to restore health again. And it's cool because the science is coming out, and there's science that tells us that 72 hours of a water only fast resets the immune system, right? And enables us to essentially ward off any type of bad bacteria. It resets the gut, which is a huge part of health, which is also a lot of cool science coming out on that as well. So awesome, awesome stuff. Resetting the immune system. You can almost imagine like restarting a computer when it's frozen or when it's not working properly. You kind of reset the computer, reboots it, and everything's good to go. It's a very similar process, actually. Um, I always talk about, chronic disease. The things that we're seeing today, cancer, diabetes, and heart disease are the top three killers in the world today, actually. So, and the thing is that fasting can be amazing for helping to actually remiss and heal from these diseases. Some stats that we got pulled up. I was thinking top three killers. So they're saying cancer is 1 in 4 people are going to have cancer. We see today millions of people that are dealing with diabetes. Cardiovascular disease is actually the number one killer in the world, right? We're seeing 1/3 of global deaths, like absolutely outstanding statistics, right? That actually I feel do not need to exist when we have such an innate ability to heal, that is just a God-given gift within us, you know. Um, yeah. So kind of moving on here, um, the why we fast, which again, it kind of all comes together. Really is a form of detoxing. I talked a little bit about that before, and it really is a form of detoxing. And that's really what I love to teach, fasting and the process of detoxing safely and effectively. Um, yeah, so why would we fast? Jesus is a perfect example, right? He talks about putting new wine in new wine bottles, right? And essentially, you're not going to put old wine in new wine bottles and things like that. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? You're not gonna put new clothes over the old clothes. You have to sort of renew, right? Take away the old and then make space for the new, which is a perfect example. Um, yeah, so getting rid of old, getting, bringing in the new, basically. Um, the benefits of fasting. Wow, there's so much science coming out. They actually coined the term rejuvenescence, and essentially what this is saying is that the power of fasting to rejuvenate the cells, essentially. So when you're fasting, basically you're going into a state of burning fat. And those fat cells that you're actually using for energy, they turn into something called pluripotent stem cells. And these stem cells are essentially like brand new cells, like as if you were like a newborn baby, essentially, right? They have a lot of stem cells. And these stem cells, these pluripotent stem cells, it just means that basically these brand new cells can become anything. A heart cell, a liver cell, a bone. It doesn't like it could be really anything. So the idea is that these stem cells are actually these fat cells that are turning into stem cells are now going throughout your body and restoring, especially injuries, which it could be a broken bone, it could be, injury to any type of cartilage and things like that, inside and out. It works the same way on the inside as it does on the outside. So super awesome science about rejuvenating and the cells restoring. Um, Again, a perfect way to reverse some of these chronic diseases that we're seeing. Um, yeah, so that's a little bit of the why to fast. There's a cool case study, Chicago Whole Laboratories. They actually came out with a study. Basically, they had a man fast. He was in his 40s, and they had him fast for about 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, they checked his cells. They were able to look at his cells essentially, and what they're looking at is the size of the nucleus within the cell, and that's kind of how they like age the cell essentially. So what they were finding is that after a 2 week water only fast, they checked his cells, and his cells essentially looked like as if they were a cell from a 17-year-old, right? So he had essentially cut his physiological age in half, right? So again, lots of cool science proving that in a way, when you're fasting, especially that extended fast, you're essentially becoming like born again, and that reminds me, like today they were doing the baptism, and there's a song that we're singing talking about being born again, the whole thing of baptism, dropping people in water, the symbolism of literally being like born again. um Awesome. Like I love the symbolism of that, but I also think that there's something physically happening with the water fast as well, and it almost is a physiological renewing or a born again process. Um, Kind of just my own, way of looking at things and connecting the dots with the science and the spirituality and stuff like that. Because honestly, in my opinion, the science is proving spirituality. It's proving God, and I think it's amazing. I really get to nerd out on this stuff. So I appreciate you guys hanging along with me here. Now, where to fast? Obviously, if we were to do what Jesus did, he went to the wilderness and fasted for 40 days. Today, probably not so easy to do. Um, would be ideal, yes. I think that's awesome. In a way, I kind of did that. Went out to Idaho, moved away from everything that I was doing in life, which is a perfect opportunity. That's why I took advantage of that. So ideally, you do want to actually separate yourself from like the stressors of life. And again, this would be ideal. We understand that that's probably not the easiest thing to do, especially for 40 days, or any time after maybe even a few days. But it would be ideal to kind of get yourself away from the stressors of life, whether that's toxic stressors coming from the water and the food and the air and stuff like that, right? Different things that are in the household as well, but also possibly toxic people. Like, we referred to that a little bit earlier. Toxic relationships that are experiencing in your life right now. It's good to step away from all of that, connect with God, and wonderful experience. So obviously, like I said, not such a reality today. Um, but the thing is that we actually want to facilitate that type of fast in the best way possible, and oh, perfect quote, two are better than one. So again, our mission is to bring people together so we can actually fast together, bringing the power of, especially people coming together with a similar faith. We come together and we're able to actually empower one another. We're actually able to encourage one another, and then we have the tools when we're confident that what we're doing is actually healing and we're being born again physiologically, like absolute awesome stuff. This is just something that we're just so passionate about doing, and we love to share this stuff, and we want to continue to do this. Obviously, this is very early on for us. We're going to be doing a retreat coming up, and in fact, I would love to have my wife Kat actually introduce that retreat. Because essentially, when it comes down to it, that's how to fast. So I'll have her kind of expose a little bit more of the how to fast. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I'll pass it on to my wife, Kat, here.
Can you guys hear me? Just checking the audio really quick, and I want to check the screen share again.
Powerful testimony, Marcus.
Thank you.
Powerful, powerful. Oh, I started it from the beginning. Let me go back and actually start from our screen where we were. Sorry, guys, one sec. There it is. Play from current slide. Okay, we are back on track. Yeah, thank you so much, Marcus, for your testimony, for sharing, and all of your wealth of knowledge that you have based around fasting from your experience. And I just continue to learn and grow from you every single day. So thank you. The last part we wanted to just touch on was we discussed the who, what, when, where, why, and then now we were discussing the how, the mysterious how. Well, we're going to teach you. If you would like, we want to extend the invitation for you to join us for our next Wellspring Wellness Retreat, which is going to be held in this beautiful photo we have of downtown San Diego. The retreat will be in La Mesa, but we will be in San Diego in January, and the retreat will be the 2nd through the 5th. I believe that's a Thursday to Sunday. What better way to start out year 2025, but with a wellness launch. What you can expect at the wellness retreat. Prior to the retreat, we will be sending out some pre-fasting protocols. Actually, one amazing thing, we are going to send a personal invite to everybody who attended this webinar today. We're going to personally invite you to an online Facebook group that Marcus has, and he's had it for a little while. And it's what he spoke about fasting on Fridays. So if you guys want, that's one simple, quick, easy way that you can get involved is just accepting that invitation. We're going to invite everybody to join. And we post videos on Friday. We post quotes. We post various different things. And it's a really sweet community where several other people, I think we have over 100 people in this group who are fasting and joining us with turning their plates over for a few hours on the day on Friday. What that looks like is having that last meal Thursday evening, fasting Monday morning, Monday afternoon, and then breaking fast Friday night. So it could genuinely be a 24-hour fast from Thursday evening to Friday evening. And you're still technically eating every day. You're just skipping breakfast and lunch, and what my husband shared regarding fasting while you sleep. So, all that time you're sleeping, you are in a fasted state as well. And those hours do count for resting the body because you're not intaking any water or food, right? We will be sending out additional fasting protocols, but we'd love for you guys to accept that invite and join the Fast Friday group. We'll also be providing you with that optimal environment. You saw the little photo with where to fast. We're not going to seclude you or isolate you in a jungle somewhere, in the forest somewhere, but we're going to be in a fairly comfortable home in La Mesa, and it will be a peaceful place, free of distraction, hopefully, and a really great property as well. Um, Marcus will be giving educational sessions. We'll start every single day with some type of body work, body movement, moving the lymphatic system and getting blood moving through the body. And then going into prayer, going into worship, going into a little Bible study that's led by myself, and then a lot more education based around fasting. And he is monitoring everybody throughout the retreat as well. We're checking in, making sure everybody's doing well. The fast itself, guys, for this retreat is a juice fast. So if you're wondering, well, which fast is it? Marcus talked about fast, faster, and fastest. Fast was whole food, plant-based. Faster was juices, and fastest is water. So we're doing the middle fast, faster, which is juices. I will be pressing fresh organic juices every single day, morning and evening. In the evening time, you will have a delicious organic vegetable broth soup. So you can still go to bed with something nice and warm in your tummy. And we'll send you to bed with some nice organic broth soup as well. You'll have coconut water, regular water. We have salt to add to the water for electrolytes and lemon. So you may think, oh, that might be really hard to do, but there's going to be so much going on through the education, through just discussions with like-minded individuals and the people you're going to be around, and all the juices and the broth and coconut water and everything you're going to have. You probably won't even realize that you haven't eaten, honestly. That's just some information and feedback I have from previous attendees. So we talked about different activities. We're going to be walking around. You have sunshine, morning bodywork activations. We do breath work. We're going to be bringing in some specialists as well. We have a massage therapist already booked who's planning to make the trip down and give massage therapy. We may potentially have a sound healing session as well. It's interesting in the book of Genesis when it says that Jesus or God spoke into creation. There's something powerful with our words. So there's something powerful with frequency as well. The earth itself is tuned to a specific frequency. And sometimes even hearing that frequency and that frequency coming in contact with your cells, sometimes listening to different music, you can feel it brings about a different emotion and stirs different things up. Did you know that there's healing with different sounds as well? So we want to provide all the different healing modalities for you on this retreat. And then since my husband is also a chiropractor student, we'll also have different chiropractic screenings. We're still partnering with a couple chiropractic doctors, so we may actually be able to do some actual adjustments. But for now, if it's just my husband there, since he's a student of chiropractic, he will be doing some screenings and just evaluating. And then lastly, every retreat attendee will receive a one-on-one consultation with Marcus. And that includes, sorry for the typo there, an iridology and sclerology assessment with an individualized wellness plan. Iridology and sclerology is the study of the iris, iridology, and sclerology is the white. So the very first day of the retreat, you will be taking some eye photos with Marcus, both the right eye and the left eye. And he's going to analyze the eye. It's kind of similar to, you might be familiar with foot reflexology, where there's different parts of the foot, that maybe the liver is sensitive here, or the kidneys are over here, or same thing with the palms. And different parts of the body may give a response to a certain other part of the organs in the body as well. There's insight that we can get by studying the eye, and he will go into that a lot more. So after that screening, you'll also be able to, he's going to type up an individualized wellness plan for you as well. So when you leave the retreat, probably within the next few weeks, he'll put you on a specific wellness plan as well. So that's what the retreat will be covering. Let me go back. Are you guys not seeing the screen share anymore?
It was just kind of frozen. There wasn't a slide show or anything. I realized when you were talking, you're talking about some of the features or some things. It wasn't
Okay.
clicking through.
Gotcha. Let me just do the play. We'll just hop through here really quick. We're almost done, guys. This is pretty much the very end. Just hang on for one more second. I'll try to get this going again. Any questions while I'm putting this back up? I know we are going to go into some Q&A time here in a moment. I'm just going to fly through the slideshow one more time. Hmm. Hmm. If it's not, oh, that's kind of a bummer actually, if it's not sharing, because we have some other things for you. I see it up there. Hmm? It's up there. Are you guys stuck on a certain, well, that is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just go on to the next one from here. So basically, those were the details of the retreat. As far as the financial details of the retreat, we have been able to significantly cut down the cost. We held a retreat up here in Northern California, which was honestly about twice as much as what the San Diego retreat is. We were able to secure amazing housing with some close friends. It's an Airbnb home that they host. It's not their home, it's a completely private home. And they just blessed our ministry, gave us an amazing discount, and it really did help significantly cut the cost. So we would love for you guys to invest in your own transformation. As you've heard my husband's testimony, I'll be sharing a little bit more of my testimony at the retreat too. And you can secure your life-changing retreat experience today if you like. We have two separate QR codes on the screen. Let's see if this works or not. Yeah, that's what I tried doing before. Okay, so basically the retreat cost in total is $550. That's going to be a 2-night stay. So even though the retreat is starting Thursday evening is going to be an interactive Zoom meeting like this. We know people have spouses and kids, and we didn't really want to pull people away for 3 full nights. So actually the retreat overnight experience where you'll be retreating is only going to be a 2-night getaway. So the first night, Thursday night, you'll be able to enjoy the retreat from the comfort of your own living room. And then Friday afternoon, everybody will be arriving for the actual retreat. We will most likely start the retreat with a Last Supper. We'll have a Last Supper meal together that I will prepare. And then we'll go into our fasting window. So the fasting window will be from Friday afternoon, and we'll break fast together. Sunday afternoon, we'll have a breaking fast ceremony on Sunday afternoon as well. So it's $550 basically for the 2 nights. It includes all of your meals, quote unquote, all the fresh organic juices and everything we will be providing. And it also includes the iridology, sclerology, and assessment work that you're individually be getting from the retreat as well. If you were to sign up today, there is an early bird special. We were going to do a 10% discount today. That's the QR code on the left. If you want to just hold your spot and secure your spot, you can just put down an initial deposit of $100 as well. So the QR code is on the right. I'm going to leave this up for one more minute. Later this week, you guys will also receive an email. The email will have this recording where we recorded this session. And we'll give more information. We'll have these QR codes and more links and more abilities and ways to pay. And if you have other questions, you can always reach out to us in the meantime too. And if you're not sold on this just yet, basically, if you need more time to think about, well, is a retreat the route that I want to go? I'm so busy. I don't know if I can actually leave my home for 48 hours. It's actually less than 48 hours you would be away from your home. You can also book a free 15-minute wellness consultation with Marcus, and the QR code for that is on the screen as well if you want to scan that too. He will potentially, you'll get those 15 minutes free with him on the phone to just discuss what best option or what best route you should take depending on what your own personal individual goals and needs are. Do you need, more one-on-one type hand holding where he does 90-day consultations and 90-day hand holding, walk you through some type of maybe healing crisis you might be going through? Maybe you did just receive a diagnosis. Maybe you guys have a family member or a friend that received a diagnosis. We discussed that even the big three, chronic illness and chronic disease, can be healed through different and various fasting protocols. So maybe this might be for them. Maybe this is for yourself. And regardless, we will be lifting you up in prayer, and everybody considering coming to this retreat, as we spend a lot of time in prayer for everybody who will participate. So maybe you need more of that one-on-one type scenario, or maybe the retreat where you saw the buddy picture, two are better than one. Maybe you just want to go be around like-minded people and be surrounded by other people who are going through exactly what you're going through. Some of us are married on this screen. Bring your spouse. We have plenty of rooms. Bring your spouse with you, and you guys can go through this together. Again, there's something beautiful just about the random God timing of this retreat coming up on January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th of 2025. Because as I said earlier, what better way to start and kick off the year 2025 than with locking down, a lifestyle change, a lifestyle routine that's going to launch you into better health and better wellness for you and for your family. Because the education you're going to receive, I guarantee you, is going to trickle down into everybody you come in contact with. People who came to our last retreat, we are still getting feedback. I told this person about the benefit. I told this person of all the education. The news is just spreading. The word is just spreading with everything that they took away from the retreat individually. So it will trickle down to your family. And that would just be an amazing thing to do and just to touch upon. So I guess this is the moment where we did just ask if anybody has any questions, whether regarding the retreat, the sign up, or anything Marcus discussed in the webinar. Go ahead and unmute yourself and let's hear it. All right.
I don't have any questions necessarily, but I do want to just tell you guys how much I appreciate everything that I've heard today. And it has been confirmation for me for what I've been going through this past year, actually, with lifestyle changes. You use that phrase. And that, I think, is the biggest change that has happened for me. And not just saying that I fasted occasionally for whatever reason, but it has become the intermittent fasting, especially, is something that I do on a daily basis. And then the plant-based diet is huge. Just knowing that, the way God created our bodies, it was created to heal itself. And so whatever is happening with anyone right now, if we can use everything that you guys have talked about and implement that to get back to that state. And then, it's just a big jump start. So I definitely will be passing this word on to others. And if I could just, if I get interested parties, if I can just send them your direction. I wasn't prepared to click on the link, the thing, the code. So, but if I can send them your direction, I think, especially since it's right here in San Diego this time, I think that was a hindrance before having it in Northern California. And then, but yeah, I just totally agree, and I just kind of co-sign everything that you guys are trying to do, because that is a perfect way to get away from all the things that kind of, I think the modern medicine it has a place. I'm not going to discredit it, but it also tends to kind of keep you trapped, like it's more of a band-aid sometimes than a complete cure for something.
Yeah.
And yeah, just having that positive reinforcement all the time is important. I took a lot of notes, and so I will kind of like reread these and pass it on. I have a wedding during that same time frame that you guys are going to be down here, but definitely I support you wholeheartedly. You guys are doing an amazing job. And what really captures me for what you guys are doing is the fact that you're bringing God into this, using scripture, using your faith. This is a faith and health thing put together here. And that's, to me, that's important. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, you're multifaceted on what you're bringing people at the same time. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda, Mama Linda. That's totally fine. Yes, feel free to pass our information along to anybody who might need it. It could be somebody who just, wants to learn a little bit more about fasting, or there might be people out there who, receive that diagnosis or are in that some type of healing crisis where they definitely, need this guy. You can't see him, but he's actually to my left right now where we're sitting. Need my husband's coaching and expertise because he's been able to help a lot of people. So
Let me add one more thing, in the fact that it was my oncologist who I was scheduled to see after my surgery.
Mhm.
Even though I said no to everything that he presented to me, he presented the lifestyle change thing to me. And so I think that the more you guys and other people that are doing the same thing get out there, because I have watched a lot of other documentaries as well, get it out there. I think some of the medical field even is understanding that maybe they need to make some changes. And so, I thought it was very unusual for an oncologist to turn me on to lifestyle changes and healing my own body. So,
That's
so you guys
great.
are on track for the future.
Awesome. That's great. I wanted to share one other thing too, is speaking of that, my brother-in-law, this definitely just hit home as far as just receiving a diagnosis. And he and my sister were on this call at the beginning because they just received that diagnosis this week. So a week ago today, he was admitted into the VA hospital, and I don't think he was released until Thursday, this past Thursday. So he was there from Sunday to Thursday. His blood sugar levels were off the chart. His A1C level was off the chart, triglycerides, his potassium, everything was just off the charts. And you know how they got things to be a little bit more stabilized? If we talk about when you're in that healing crisis and you can heal either via faster, or fastest, they went for the fastest protocol and they said, sorry, dude, you're just going to be on water. So they had him on water and with an IV just, hydrating him. And they said no food. And I think he had to fast for, I think about 48 hours. It might have been longer that they fasted him. and all of his blood sugar levels started to normalize. So Marcus can maybe just share a brief, quick little testimony. We're gonna try to be done before 5 o'clock here, guys. But yeah, I told him like you should share about my brother-in-law. So they're going to be working with Marcus directly, and I hope to see them at the retreat as well. Yeah. So his diagnosis was adult onset type 1 diabetes. Well, they know he has diabetes. They're assuming it's type 1. We're still waiting for the lab results to come back, but they're assuming it's type 1, which is rare to get as an adult. So, but it is still reversible. Don't let the doctors lie to you. It's still reversible.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or want to share anything?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you. Definitely when the Lord is aligning things in your life, opportunities are presented. Like I mentioned on my chat that usually each year around beginning of November, I have a spreadsheet and I send it out to my kids so they can tell me what they want for Christmas. And across mine, I put juicer.
Juicer.
Yeah, so I definitely have been feeling that from the Lord as well. I've had just some really bad food allergies to things that I've never had allergies to before. And so he definitely had been prompting me to juice. And I am going to be praying that I'll be able to join you guys. I have to, I'm as a married couple, we always have to run all of our ideas together and just get a feel for that. But thank you so much. And I know that this is from the Lord. And God, I bless you guys. I'm praying for you. I'm a huge supporter of
Thank you.
what you're doing.
Thank you, friend. Heidi's a good friend of mine. Heidi, I'll share with you a couple links of some juicers on a couple different pricing scales, depending on how all in you want to go. Because we're doing our wellness retreat and we're doing the juicing that we're doing, we maxed out. We spent the money. So it really just kind of depends on what you want to do. But honestly, some of these products, if even the pricier ones, they're going to last a really long time. So don't know what the budget is there, but I'll send you a couple like recommendations that we have on a couple different like budget scales that you can shop around. So
Appreciate that.
yeah. Anybody else? Cool. Well, we just want to give a thank you to all of you guys. Thank you so much. Sorry, I don't know what happened with our screen share options here, but thank you guys for bearing with us. This is only our second ever live webinar. We're still working out the kinks, but we appreciate your grace and your patience with us. And thank you again. I want to thank my husband again for just giving us his knowledge and the information that he has, this journey that God set him on years and years and years ago. We're now reaping the benefit of it. And I've learned so much from him and continue to learn every day. So thank you, Marcus. But yeah, thank you, attendees. And please keep an eye out for an email for more information. We can definitely continue this conversation and discussion from here, even though the webinar is officially over.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Love you.
Awesome. Thank you guys as well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.